Good afternoon, welcome back. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Can you hear me nice and loud and clear? How was lunch? Good? Good. Could you do me a very quick favor? Could you just turn to the person next to you and just in one word tell them how it is that you're feeling based on today? Just in one word. How are you feeling based on today? Yeah? Okay. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to pause you there. Okay. Okay, thank you. Great. Wow. Okay, so folks, this is great. I'm glad the networking is really underway. Who's got people who you're definitely going to follow up with after today? Okay, anyone already linked to people on LinkedIn and followed up? Anyone got any really magical, serendipitous things in common that they've spotted with people? Anything magical that's happened? Some really wonderful moments, maybe? New best friends? Well, maybe there's still time. As you noticed, the wonderful Anna has vanished. Can we give Anna, who was my co-host this morning, a round of applause? So I do need for the afternoon, because I'm feeling all alone, a co-host. Maybe somebody that works for the Business and IP Centre. Maybe somebody who also knows what it's like running a business. Maybe somebody who's up for a business award later on this evening, if I'm correct as well. Jacqueline Brown, which... there you go. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I thought best I come back up and make sure that, you're handling your business well here, Rashid. Is he been handling his business?
Do you know
that's not a good response there.
Yeah.
I'll talk later then.
So, it's like so. It seems like just a year ago that we were both here for the 2024 event.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we have got a wonderful afternoon still in line for people. Tell people what we've got in store this afternoon.
Yeah, we've got a lot coming on this afternoon. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't booked for the evening, do know that you still can. You can go to the reception desk. There is a QR code to be able to get through to Eventbrite and get your tickets for tonight. It's going to be amazing, seriously.
Yeah, Joe Wicks and Nikki Wicks, the body coach.
Exactly, it's going to be hot.
I've noticed this is why I'm on my trainers, just
in
case.
You know what?
Just in case there's kind of fitness stuff to do.
Exactly. So we've got so much going on. We've got social media, training coming up soon with our ambassador, Martha Keith. It's going to be a hot one. We've got a slot all around finance. There's things about protecting your money. So much to come forth. But what's happening right now?
Well, we need to hear from the interim chief executive because he's here. He was an entrepreneur. We heard from him this morning, and I think he deserves a very big round of applause again. Could you put your hands together for Dr. Jeremy Silver?
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rashid. Thank you, everybody. It's great to be here. As Rashid said, I'm the interim CEO at the library, and actually this is the first time that I've addressed an audience in that new capacity. So it's very nice that it's you. It's really great to see you all here and just to feel the buzz in the room. And what Rashid was saying about all these serendipitous meetings, that as I was just wandering around before, I could hear all sorts of people talking with each other and trying to find out what each other were doing and trying to find that crossover or that little bit of piece that you've got in common or the gap that you're looking to fill. And I think that's what this day is all about. So it's great to see so much already happening. It's really been, I think, for a few years now, the real central calendar piece for the Business and Information Centre. And as Dame Carol, our chair, said this morning, the library's been around for 50 years. And the interesting thing is that as part of its purposes, part of its real core, it's always been to provide services to business. And I think this kind of activity, more than any other, exemplifies the way in which the British Library can do that and complement all the other things and all the other functions and support that there are for business. And we're going to hear a bit more about that in just a few minutes from our colleague from the Department for Business and Trade. The libraries are amazing places to go. One of the things that I've been an entrepreneur entrepreneur for 25 years. And one of the things about it is that it can be very lonely. It can be very tough to actually try and do this stuff on your own and continue to keep your idea in the center of your mind and pursue it. And having somewhere to go where people are sympathetic and want to listen to you is incredibly important. And it's amazing to me that this network exists of all our business and IP centres, 21 of them around the UK, and then a further 65 in smaller versions in neighbouring towns. And the great thing is that, you know, so many people who take advantage of this system and this network are people who are underrepresented in business generally. And I think it's one of the things that really has marked out the success of the network is how empowering it's been for people who otherwise don't find their way into business. And there are about 60% of our users are women, 40% are from ethnic minority background, and 15% have a disability. I think those are remarkable statistics. They're absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I think a round of applause. Very good. 40,000 people a year are being helped. And the thing that's really, I think, fantastic is that, you know, starting a business is really hard. Keeping a business going is even harder. And the thing that's amazing about the businesses that have come through the BIPC is that 90% of them, according to our data, 90% of them are still actually going in the crucial third year of any business. That's really, really impressive. You know, if you think about all the stresses and strains and all the difficulties and the challenges of running your own business, to keep going for that length of time is a real challenge and a real achievement when you do it. And it probably means that you're going to keep on going and you're getting somewhere. But I think that the message for today is all about partnership. It's all about looking for support. And I've found, you know, I've worked with all kinds of different founders over the years, and I've helped start businesses from scratch. I've helped grow businesses. I've helped sell businesses. And the thing that's the most important at the heart of all of those things is the team you build around you. And I think you all know that. And I think that team spirit and that sense of being able to support each other and keep yourself going when all the odds are against you and it feels like, oh, this is so hard. And people don't really understand how brave you have to be to do that. It's really tough. I'm such an admirer of any of you who are in the room today and online around watching this, who've gone out on a limb to do that, because it takes guts. And people don't recognize that, but you know, and I know it, and it's really, really good to see. So we're absolutely delighted that there's such a buzz in the room, and I hope that it's working and conveying itself online as well. The British Library, as you probably know, is a department, is an arm's length body, but it's sponsored by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. But in the business area, we also work extremely closely with colleagues in the Department for Business and Trade. And that department is the department that supports small businesses and economic growth across the nation. The growth hubs that I'm sure lots of you know about are run out of TBT. And so we were really hoping that we would have Blair McDougall here today, who's the Minister for Small Businesses. But unfortunately, and as you know, ministers have to be really quite ill not to be able to make it to things because they usually stagger on through. So it's a great shame, but we were going to hear from him. But fortunately, we're very glad to have Ros Hall with us today. Ros is the Director of Small Business Strategy in DBIT, and she's going to tell us a bit about the wider government approach to supporting small businesses and entrepreneurship. So thank you very much, and welcome, Ros.
Thank you so much for having me. You may have spotted that I'm not Blair McDougall, being a woman and not Scottish. I did have moments of thinking I could try and do this with a Scottish accent just to try and, you know, bring the spirit. But I thought that wouldn't be kind to you or to anyone else, particularly offensive to anyone who's actually from Scotland. So the Minister, as you said, is really sincerely sorry that he cannot be here today. He's cancelled his whole day. He's not come down from Scotland. So it's really, this is no reflection demonstration of his commitment, and he was really, really keen that I come and literally read his words to you so that you get the sense of what he really cares about. He would love this. He would love the energy in the room. He's had a fantastic time starting as Small Business Minister. I kind of meet with him every week, and one of the things as I'll talk about, is we published a plan, Backing Your Business, back in last summer, and he's really, really passionate about getting that out there, and also continuing to hear from you about what it is that might hold you back and how we can support you to take those opportunities that are here today, but in lots of other places. So I will make sure if there's anything, I'll stay for a little bit to try and feed that back to him, and I will reassure him that it was a hugely excited audience. But I'm going to try and read what he wanted to say, because it's important that I think you hear that he ran a small business himself, and I think he really wanted to share his experiences with you. So you just have to kind of go into a bit of an imaginative state and imagine that I am actually a Scottish man, and just pretend. Well, first of all, he wants to give his thanks to the British Library for bringing us all together, both here and in libraries across the country. It's wonderful to join so many small business owners and such fantastic speakers. And it sounds like you've had a really fantastic day so far, and will continue to do so. I know it's been said already, but you will not see a finer example of the importance of our libraries in our economy, as well as to our culture. Before I was elected, the library was an invaluable place to work, to think, and to plan. Before there was WeWork, before there was Huddle, before there was buying 5 lattes in a day in return for that table in the corner of the cafe, there were libraries. And that's why I'm so excited to be here today. I fully appreciate that this is one of the most important briefs any minister could have. That's because it's no exaggeration to say that small businesses are the backbone of this economy. SMEs make up 99% of all businesses in Britain. 99%. That stat still amazes me. 5.7 million of you, just to give you a sense of the scale. And they provide a staggering 2.8 trillion in turnover. That's more than our annual education, defence and NHS budgets combined. And that's why you're taking those chances and going ahead and starting your business is so important to the British economy. As a former small business owner myself, I know what it's like to take your future into your own hands. It can be exhilarating, but it can also be extremely isolating. You've got to wear every hat. You've got to be the CFO, the CEO, the COO, the account manager, the building manager, the canteen manager, the receptionist, the janitor, and you have to organise the Christmas party. Running a business will never be easy. It shouldn't be. It's a passion, a calling, an all-consuming commitment. And anyway, entrepreneurs are not afraid of hard work, but it shouldn't be as hard as it is. I want you to know that this government is there beside you, making things just a little bit easier and just a little bit quicker. That's why over the summer we published our plan, Backing Your Business, a whole set of reforms to support startups and entrepreneurs. We've started with late payments. I'm just going to deviate from his speech there, just in case you may not be aware, but late payments are a real problem. They're a reason why 38 businesses fail a day in the UK. It costs 11 billion a year. This is when people obviously delay payments, and it has a disproportionate effect on small businesses. And what we announced in that plan is the first time in 25 years that we've legislated on this, and it creates one of the most competitive environments in the G7. So just to emphasise on that bit. We've already introduced a fair payment code rewarding businesses who pay their suppliers promptly. Now we're going further. We're legislating on tough measures to stop larger firms dragging their feet. Our Backing Your Business plan also cuts the red tape that we know has been holding our SMEs back. We are cutting the administrative cost of regulation by 25% for all businesses. We're bringing in brand new hospitality zones with fewer forms and lower fees. We're improving access to finance too by boosting support for a key programme from the British Business Bank, because we know that access to finance is one of the most important things for startups in particular. The Enable Guarantee Programme is all about putting government-backed loans within reach of SMEs with less risk for lenders. By increasing its capacity by some 3 billion, even big numbers even in government terms, we're making sure the full financial firepower of government is behind startups who want to grow and grow fast. Of course, not everyone knows about the help that's out there. It's one of the reasons what you're doing is so important. No small business owner wants to spend hours trawling the internet about different local and national programmes. We're sorting that with our brand new business growth service. And if you do one thing for me today, it's that you look up business.gov.uk, because that is where we're trying to put all those things together, and it's actually tailored. So you can put in your postcode and it will tell you what is available. And this is only the start. It brings together central, devolved and local business support all under one roof that's the address I've just given you, designed to provide bespoke, personalised support and to make sure businesses get advice that's best for them. But launch is not completion. Like any good service, the business growth service will evolve and expand over time to integrate more businesses, more business support, new services, and combine the best of the private, academic and third sectors. I believe that this service, alongside all the other measures laid out in our plan, are going to make a huge difference to what SMEs can accomplish across the UK. That's because, this is my favourite statistic in this job, which still shocks me. If we can help all SMEs grow by 1% per year, that would mean an extra 320 billion for the economy by 2030. So you all, in your way, can contribute to that, and it's a hugely exciting goal and feels eminently achievable. So that's what the government is doing as part of our growth mission. We want to make Britain the best place to start and grow a business. And events like this are so important because they don't just give you the chance to hear from me, they give me the chance to hear from you via me. And that's far more important. I want to make sure that we're pursuing the right pro-business, pro-innovation, pro-wealth creation policies so our SMEs and our startups can really thrive. So I really look forward to hearing from you. And by that, I will just add in that we used about 1,000 businesses contributed to developing the plan that we published in the summer. And the principle of that kind of you said we did kind of principle, we really are continuing to apply. So we genuinely do want to hear from you about what it is that's holding you back and what more we can do as government to help you. But I think I just want to say, on his behalf and from everyone at DBT, a huge thank you and best of luck for today. And I really hope you have a fantastic rest of the day.
Well, thank you very much, Ros. Ros, I thought you did that just seamlessly. I was imagining just darting between the two, hearing you speak and hearing Blair's voice as well in there. Thank you so much. But it's interesting, lots of that food for thought, isn't it? That 1% of growth would equal 320 billion for the economy. That is really, really incredible. How are you doing? Good. The energy's still high? Get used to it. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great, because in business, it never stops, as we were hearing from our panel before. Who is keen to just get a little bit or a lot more confident when it comes to social media? Yeah, I can see some hands going up. Yeah, social media. Our next speaker, who is in the room, I can see just like a beacon. If you don't know Martha Keith, you're soon about to discover Martha. Martha is an ambassador for the British Library's Business and IP Centre and founder of Martha Brooke and of Business Secrets Club. And she is just a real enthusiast, not just about business generally, but she has this lovely way of being really passionate about everybody's business, and that's a really magical quality. So can you put your hands together for Martha Keith?
Oh, that was the loveliest introduction. Good afternoon. Now, there's no post-lunch slump here, because this is going to be the most important session you hear today. Because what is the one thing I can see that you all have in your hands right now? And if you don't, you have it in your pocket or in your bag. Phones, that's right. So wherever your customer is, you can reach them every single day for free through social media. And if you've not worked out by now, you can have the best product or service in the world, and we've all been there, you've got something brilliant, but unless people buy it, you don't have a business. And that's one of the hardest realizations. Who's realized that? You actually have to get people to buy your product. And social media is magic. Genuinely believe it's magic. So what you're going to learn today is going to be transformational. But this is not going to be a session where you're just going to sit and listen to me. No. I really, really want you to take some action. So as I'm talking through this, at the end of this session, in the next half an hour, we're going to have a think about how you could post about today, this brilliant event, and get as many people as possible seeing your post. So as I go through the points I'm going to be talking about in the next half an hour, I want you to write down your phone notes, pen and paper. What would be the things you might need to include in that bit of content that would get people stopping and engaging with it? And then we're going to come back and check in on that in the end. So, who am I? Oh, I've got a nice clicker here. So my name's Martha, amazing introduction by Rashid. So many years ago, 10 years ago, and more than a decade ago, I sat in rooms like this, and I decided, quite scarily, to leave my corporate job and start a stationery business in my bedroom. I really, in hindsight, knew very little about anything. And that business has grown from there, using things like social media and other forms of digital marketing to where it is today. It's a brand called Martha Brooke. We've got a studio over in Australia and one here in the UK, and we ship our products all the way around the world. And for the last few years, I've been helping other businesses, big and small, with their marketing, from businesses like the British Library, where I'm really proud to be an ambassador of the Business Centre and also sit on the advisory council here, and small businesses as well. I'm passionate about small brands because I know just how hard it is. And last year, I thought, I'm going to try and see if I can put my money where my mouth is and really use everything I know about social media to try and almost start over. And so I started an Instagram account called Business Secrets Club. And I thought, I'm not going to tell anybody I'm doing this, partly because I was really scared of what people might think, and partly because I just wanted to see whether I could do it again. And I thought, I'm going to try and start a business just with an Instagram account. And over the last year, that in February last year had 37 followers, and this morning it had 117,000 followers in 20 months. So everything I'm talking about now is absolutely possible, and it's possible in a very short space of time. Now, who here has got an idea for a product or service, but maybe hasn't launched it yet? Lots of you, brilliant. Now, I do not want you sitting there listening to this, or if you're listening at home or you're listening in a centre around the country, thinking, I'm going to come to this when I've got my product ready. No, because you can start to do this stuff now, and actually I would argue that now is a great time to start. I launched this business without a product. I just started to build a community and talking about something that I cared about. And by the time I had my first product ready, I had 50,000 potential customers waiting 6 months later. So if you're sitting there thinking, once I've got my product or service perfect, I'm gonna start my social channel. No, now's a really good time to start to do this. And I'm gonna tell you why as we go through this talk. So, you really can supercharge your business, but the problem is, and this is what I think is so interesting about social media, is that a lot of businesses get this all wrong. They start to try and use Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and they get really frustrated because social media has changed so much in the last 5 years. Like, it's a completely different place than it used to be 5 years ago. And so there's a way of doing it now that really will get traction for you and really help your business. And that's what I'm really excited to share with you today, because it's no longer about just posting at your audience. It's about taking them on a journey with you. So I'm going to share my 10 golden nuggets. Now, don't worry, I'm going to come back to this slide again at the end. I'm going to go through each one of these in detail. And this is going to be how you can use social media in a way that is going to be transformational for your brand. So you can take a picture of this slide. We'll come back to it at the end. We're going to go through each one of these in turn. Okay, and then at the end, we're going to think about how we can post about today. Does that sound good? Yep. Great. Right, number one, your audience. Now, this might sound really, really boring, but every single day, there are 1 billion people that log onto these social platforms, and you don't need to talk to all of them. And the way that these platforms work is they do something called audience matching. They decide, they look at your account, they look at your post and think, who are we going to serve this to? And they don't do it by what you sell, they do it by who your audience is. And this is the first mistake that a lot of businesses make, is they log on thinking, right, I'm going to talk about my jewelry, I'm going to talk about my yoga mat, I'm going to talk about the thing that I'm selling. But what you need to do is you need to think about, who do I want to see this content? Because that's the way the algorithms work. And if you know who you want your content to be served to, it's much easier to help the algorithms do that. So if you're a photographer, so we use this as an example, you could be a brand photographer, and then your audience might be people in this room today, small business owners. You could be a wedding photographer, and your audience would be brides-to-be. You could be a food photographer, and your audience would be food and hospitality business. Do you see how the audience would be slightly different for those 3 niches, even though the service is the same thing? So starting with, right, who is my customer? Who is my audience? Is really, really helpful. And we'll see as we go through the other things I'm going to talk about this afternoon, you'll see how this is really, really relevant. The second thing to know is that you don't need to do every single social platform. I know when you start, you look and think, oh, it's Instagram, there's Blue Sky, it's a new one, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, and it seems super overwhelming, right? The best advice that anyone ever gave me is to pick one social platform and do it really, really well. Say that this is my one where I'm going to build my community. And then absolutely, when you get a bit of traction, you can expand elsewhere. Because if you spread yourself too thin, it's really, really hard to do them all, trust me. If you have a product-based business, I would say that Instagram is a brilliant one. If you maybe have a younger audience, it could be TikTok. If it's a B2B audience, it could be LinkedIn. But pick one platform as your base, get to know how it works, get to know how the algorithm works, and then kind of expand out from there. Don't try and do everything. Okay, number 2. Now, this is the biggest thing businesses get wrong. So, when you log on to Instagram, or does everybody have a social media platform on their phone? Yes. Okay, this lady here. Why do you log on to it? Why? Why do you open the app? Why did you? You're trying to build a community. But as a user, might be the reason that you log on to have a little scroll. To spy your competitors. Okay. Well, you're not a good person. Anybody else? Why does anybody else use it? So the main reason that people log on to social media now, apart from to spy on their competitors, is for connection, for entertainment. People don't generally log on because they think, I can't wait to be sold at today. No one does that. You know when you're watching Netflix now and they start putting those ads on? How annoying is that? You're really enjoying your program and suddenly there's an ad, you're like, oh God, this is not why I signed up to Netflix. So the sort of content that is selling content, if it feels like that, people just scroll past it. So as a business, you need to mix 2 types of content together. You need to mix together content that is brand building or brand growing content and brand selling content. Absolutely, you need to sell your product, but you need to have a proportion of content that you post about that is deliberately designed to just grow your audience and grow your users. That's the sort of content that gets more eyes on you, it builds awareness of your business, it gets more people to your page, it gets more people following. And it means that when you do post that selling content, more people see it. And the mistake that a lot of businesses make is that they think, right, I'm just using this social platform to talk about my product. And the problem with that is it's really hard to get people to follow you, to engage with you, and actually then it's really hard to get people to buy. So you have to, in your head, think, I'm going to have 2 types of content I'm posting, content that grows my audience and content that then moves them to take action and buy. And if you're new at this, like a really good way to think about this is like a 50-50 mix. And actually with both of my businesses, I actually post more content that grows my audience versus the content that converts people to sell. But with both of my businesses, I have a huge proportion of sales from social media. This really works. So what does that look like? So growth content, brand growing content, is the sort of content that adds some sort of value. Like you're watching Netflix because you're enjoying it. In the same way, brand growing content is enjoyable to people. It's either inspiring, entertaining, educational, or it connects with them in some way. So your job as a business, and this might sound hard, but we won't by the end of this presentation, is to do a proportion of content that fits into one of those 4 buckets. Now, if you're a service business, you can imagine sort of educational content, you can sort of imagine how that might work. Some of those other things might feel a bit harder, so let's just go through them. So this is just an example from my stationery business. So you'll see, if you look down my feed, my stationery business, Martha Brooke, you'll see there are certain content that maybe gets slightly less engagement, but it's very product focused, and that's the sort of content that's designed to get people to buy. And then you'll see there's other content that gets hundreds of thousands of views, and it's more about maybe our story. This is one, POV, you started a stationery business in your bedroom. POV, by the way, means point of view. Social media speak. POV, you started a stationery business in your bedroom and now you're making stationery for. And this was a video about some of the corporate orders we've had. If I just said, hey, here's some corporate orders, it would have been really boring. But what this did is it showed people these lovely orders we've made for really big brands, and it told the story, and this got 1 million views. And that's what I mean by valuable content, is it's content that's inspiring and interesting to people. So you're not posting at your audience, you really want to inspire them, make them feel involved. And the other shift in thinking with this is about moving from posting at your audience to building with. So we've moved into an era now called the creator economy, where people don't really want to follow brands anymore. If you go back 10 years ago, people loved the brands with the logos, the perfect videos. People don't want that anymore. People want to follow people. And so in one of the ways that you can really do this, and by the way, in this room, we have a huge advantage. Every single one of you here is here because you're either starting something or thinking of starting something or growing something. People want to follow a person and they want to come on the journey with you. So instead of thinking, I'm just going to broadcast what I'm doing, my perfect product, take people with you with as you're building it. Make it into a conversation. Use storytelling. So this is one of the things which is so powerful right now, 2025, 2026. Tell your story. Talk about the things that are hard. Talk about something you've learned. Take people on the journey with you. Talk about why you are doing what you're doing. So you can see here, this is a story about how we make in the UK. I told another story recently about my thoughts on Black Friday. People don't want to just see your product. This is one thing that's hugely valuable to people, taking them on that journey with you. Getting people's input, making it feel two-way. So it's not just you just posting at people, it's let's do this together. And do you know what? If people feel that they're on the journey with you, they're way more invested in the outcome. So by the time you come to say, this is the thing that I'm launching, people will be like, yes, you've done it. And they really care and they really want to buy. The more you can involve people, the more invested they are in the outcome. And linked to that, one of the most powerful things you can do as a business owner is to leverage your own personal voice. Now, I don't know what people's opinions are of AI. I hate AI. You can see it a mile off on social media. And because it is becoming so ubiquitous, because it's everywhere now, do you know what really stands out? People. Actually, the imperfect stuff. If you see somebody there and they make a mistake, I bet you that post will go viral. If you see somebody showing up as themselves, that's what people love nowadays. So one of the things that you can do to really stand out versus your competitors is just show up as you. With both of my businesses, this has been one of the absolute game changers for me. There are probably thousands of stationery brands in the UK, around the world, but there's only one of me. So by showing up with my face, the face of that business, it gives you an immediate differentiator that people can kind of connect with you as much as they connect with your business. And you'll see that even really big brands now try to do this. They try and have somebody as the face of their business. But they're not very good at it because it doesn't feel very authentic. But all of us in this room can do this so well. We can show up as ourselves. So a personal brand is literally where people get that thing where they can kind of connect you and understand what you stand for. And it sort of helps them connect with your business. It helps you differentiate yourself. It helps you stand out versus your competitors. And it helps you build trust. And building trust is one of the things that's really important if you then want people to come and convert and buy from you. So don't be afraid to put your face on your social channel, talk a little bit, talk personally, tell people what you're up to. That is unbelievably powerful. I would not have got where I have today with either of my businesses without doing that. So it really does make everything easier when you show up as yourself. Right, next thing. One of the things that has happened hugely in the last 5 years, and this is because of TikTok, is that video has become ubiquitous. I'm sure you've seen it. On every single platform now, there is what is known as short-form video content. So Instagram Reels, does everybody know Instagram Reels? TikToks, LinkedIn, everywhere. Pinterest, video is everywhere. So, and I'm talking about short-form video. So in the kind of, 10, 20 years ago, we had long-form video. So that's stuff that was on YouTube, it's landscape. Short-form video is generally portrait. They often have their own tab on a lot of social media platforms, like YouTube now has YouTube Shorts. And what you'll find with video versus static content is it tends to run for much longer. It tends to have a lifespan of months, even years, and it gets much more engagement and reach than static content. So what I'm talking about here is generally very short. It could be like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, up to a minute, can be up to 90 seconds. On some platforms now, they let you go to like 3 minutes, but keep it short. It's generally portrait. It's generally filmed on a phone. You don't need anything else. You just need your phone. And it's it's meant to be that content you scroll through a few at once, your easily digestible bits of content. This sort of content is everywhere, and it is really, really transformational. That's one of the ways I've been able to grow this account that I started last year so quickly, because video is really magic. And as a product business, it really helps you sell as well, because to buy a product, you kind of need to see what it looks like. Often product purchases tend to be impulse purchases where you see something and you think, oh, I really like that. And with service brands, it really helps you build trust and authenticity. So having video content, I would say for about half of your content now, is incredibly powerful. Just using your phone, just getting used to today, filming very short clips with your phone, whatever you're doing, and then you put them together to make these little videos. And what's the thing that makes a video work best of all? That fact every single bit of content needs now? You'll never forget this. A hook. Okay, a hook is something you use on social media to stop people from scrolling. And I want you to think of this little cat that pops its little head up and it's quite curious of what's happening. Every time you create any bit of content from now on for your business, everything you do, every bit of content, static or video, photos or video, has to have a hook. Once I've told you this, you're going to see this everywhere. And a hook is the thing you use to stop someone from scrolling and getting them engaging with your bit of content. Because this is what all the algorithms look at. They say, is someone stopping and is someone watching it? And therefore, we're going to show it to more people. And there are 3 types of hook. There's a text hook, which is the text you have on your video or the text you have on your post. There's the visual hook, which is kind of what you see, what's happening there. And then there's the caption hook, which is the start of your caption. So you can see here, this is a static bit of content. Text hook, on behalf of all small and independent business owners, please can we have a chat about Black Friday? Text hook, we need to talk. And then there's a nice video, a photo of a person, which really helps you stop. And you can see this takes a format, different businesses, different format. This is for my other business, Business Secrets Club. Different visually, but there's still a hook. And even very big brands who are good at social media do this. National Geographic, 270 million followers on social media. They have hooks. Colon cancer is rising in young people. We may finally have a clue why. This is just a picture. But I was like, oh, I want to read that caption. It stopped me, and it made me read. And that's what you need to get someone to engage. Video, will this coot survive or become lunch? That's a hook, because you're really curious then. You're curious to find out what's going to happen in that video. That's called a hook, and that's your job with every bit of content, is to make someone curious. You're not posting at them. You're building with them. You're making them interested in what you have to say, and therefore they stop and engage. Does that make sense? If you look at all the businesses that good engagement, this is what they do. Hooks. Okay, last 3 things before we talk about how we're going to post about today. SEO. Social media platforms are now like mini Googles. No one really searches on Google anymore. Well, some people do, but a lot of young people just search on social media. They go and they think, best place to do, cute cafe near me, best place to do yoga in London. They use SEO. They use social platforms. So one of the things that you should be doing in your content is making it discoverable. We're using keywords in your content. So if you want if you want people to find what you're talking about, you need to make it discoverable in the same way you would a website page. So if you're starting out, I'm just using yoga because I just happened to speak to somebody that was running a yoga business and she's stuck in my mind. So you might want, she's selling colourful yoga mats, so she might want to use the phrase colourful yoga mats in her caption. Instagram can see that, all the social platforms can see that, and then if someone searches for that, they will then serve them that bit of content. You make your content much more discoverable, it makes your business more discoverable, so absolutely think about doing that. Next, really want to make it easy for people to buy from you. So you're going to be doing this content that's going to get people to your page. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be inspiring, it's going to be educational, it's going to have a hook. And then it's going to be really obvious on your page how you get people to buy from you. And you're going to constantly remind people, here's my product, here's my service. You're going to make the customer journey really, really obvious. You're going to have a very clear link in your bio. You're going to have maybe highlights that show your product, your service. You're going to use things like social proof, like reviews, like user-generated content, things like that to make it really proof that other people are using your product, and make it very, very clear in your social platforms how you can buy from you, and mix that in with your brand building content. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look every month, you're going to be super strategic about this, is you're going to look at your analytics and say, actually, what has worked in the last month? What has been the content that has brought most people to my page? and followed me, more most people to my page and engaged with me, and what's the content that's made most people buy, and build on that. And one of the best ways you can use social media well is by constantly building on what is working, and that's how you find the things that really work for your brand. I'm trying to make sure we have enough time for questions. And then lastly, what I really would say is that with both of my brands, what I try to do is build a community, not just followers. I'm not posting at them, I'm taking them with me. And the difference in having a community versus just people that are following along is that if you have a community, you get them involved. So you get them involved with each other, you get them involved. So you ask them what they'd like to see, you ask them questions, you maybe do regular Q&As, you make people feel like they're part of it. And every week I constantly think, what do my audience want to see, not just what do I want to share? And for all communities need a leader, and that leader can be you. If you're brave enough to show up and start to talk about your business, people will want to follow, people will want to come on that journey with you. So when you start to think about whatever you're building as a community space and not just, I'm just showing people my product, it really changes your mindset around it. 10 golden rules. Start with your audience, mix in that brand growing content, build with instead of posting at, leverage your personal voice, use that short form video to help you with reach, be a master scroll stopper, mix in those hooks, use SEO for discoverability, make it easy for people to buy, get smart with your analytics and community, not just followers. Okay, so thinking about all of that, how would you post about today? Anything that you would, any ideas for what that post would need to have in it, or anything that you would need to include? I'm looking at this. Video, great idea. Video, anything else? A hook, thank you. Okay, so instead of what we would traditionally do on social media is we would just post a picture saying, hey, I was at this event. And that would be fine. That would be kind of posting at your followers. It might get a handful of likes, but you want lots of people to see it to build your page. So here are 4 ideas for posts that you could do from today to think about to grow your audience. Number 1, a storytelling carousel. So this is a few photos from today where you put text on top of the photos, you've got a hook, and you talk about where you've come from and why you've come to today. So yesterday I did something that really scared me, but I'm so glad I did. Oh, that's made me curious. I'm going to swipe through and find out what this person did. Then you talk about the journey, where you've come from with your business, why you've come here, what you found out about yourself today. That's a really, that's connection content. That's something that's really interesting. You could also do a carousel where you talk about the lessons you've learned. 6 things I learned as a small business owner that shut their laptop yesterday. I always start with the hooks with my bits of content. A video where you talk about behind the scenes, what's really, really entertaining. Come with me as I spend a day with people all brave enough to start something of their own. You see how you would watch that? That'd be really interesting. Or an inspirational video. A few years ago, starting a business felt impossible to me. To be in the audience today, making it happen, felt like a dream. Inspiring, educational, connection, entertaining. All things that would add value to somebody, all things that would be brand building content, all things that would get people to your page and grow your audience so they're there ready for you to sell to them. Does that make sense? Okay. Right, I genuinely believe that social media can supercharge your business. Hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight into how. The best thing I would say is to be brave, be bold, and be brilliant you, because that's what, be brilliantly you, because that's what people want to see nowadays. People want to connect with people, and that's why people will follow along and care about what you do. If you want more from me, I have a course which 1,100 businesses have done, and I am giving it away as one of the prizes today. If you fill out your feedback forms, and if you don't win, you can also find it in my Business Secrets Club bio. And I've also got a community space where we do kind of content ideas like this. Oh, and any questions? I've managed to leave 5 minutes for questions. Yay! Thank you so much, and we'll do questions. Hopefully that was useful. Do we have a roving mic? And I think we also can get questions from the audience at home using the iPad. There's a gentleman back. There's a lady at the front here with her hand up first. This is the lady that stalks on her competitors. That's what she only uses social media for.
Hello, this was brilliant, by the way.
Oh,
I
good.
got so many good insights from this. My question is, I'm trying to build my personal brand.
Yes.
And 2 businesses at the same time.
Yeah.
And I got completely paralyzed in posting on social media because I don't know how to find my voice and what content to put out there as a brand founder. And about my business as well. I don't want my content to be misleading and my message to get not to get across. So I got.
When you say building a personal brand, do you mean as a separate page about you?
I just want to. Well, I don't want to get myself too thin out there and posting in 3 separate accounts. I just want to build my personal brand, and on top of that, build my businesses. So that's why I'm trying to find my own voice and to post about my business at the same time.
So I think the thing is, we all feel like that, don't we? I think we all feel really scared and like we've got nothing to say. So what I would really try and do with 3 accounts, if you've got 3 accounts, 2 accounts.
Well, I've just got 1 account.
Okay, 1 account.
And I want to post only on that account.
Okay.
So I don't like.
Well, that sounds great. So I think that, so what I would say is with every single account you have, so I would just, having 1 account is way better than 3, is really think about, as I said, who is your audience and what's your main message? Because to get traction with any of these things, you need to have a really clear reason for people to come and follow you and a really clear, what we call content bucket. So like a kind of topic that you constantly talk about or a reason for people to follow along. And I think one of the reasons that people don't get traction is they try and do too many things. And I think it is incredibly hard to try and reduce it down when you've got so much to say and you feel like you're limiting it. Maybe you're limiting your audience, you're limiting your value. But one of the best things I can say is that the more narrowly focused you are, it's way easier for people to follow along because they know what they're going to get and they know why they're going to follow. So I would say, it sounds like you've got so much value to give, is pick 1 or 2 things to talk about, constantly talk about them, and then people will go, oh, this is really interesting, I'm going to follow along, find out more about that, and then you can bring more of those things in. But absolutely, you have stuff to talk about. We all do. And I think that's one of the things is you start thinking, oh, why would people want to listen to me? But they do. If you're brave enough to start to talk, people will listen. If you are building something that's really interesting to people, people love that. So don't be afraid to do it. But just try and narrow your focus down so you've got something that you can get traction with and then maybe expand it out. Okay, good luck. Yes, go for it. There's lots of
people online.
Yes.
Can we again give a shout out to the people here online?
Yes, thank you for everyone joining us online.
Okay,
Question.
so we have Essie. We've got a couple of
Yes.
people, so we can go between the room and
Yes,
here.
perfect.
Essie is asking you, how do you protect your mental health when using social?
Good question.
The addictiveness of it. Her question goes a bit more into that. She's interested to hear those who've had successful social media accounts and just handling all of that with mental health.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I guess 2 things I do. I kind of separate out what I put online with me. I think I used to be very worried about what people thought of me. And when I tried to start this second business last year, I actually tried to do it anonymously because I thought I've really got loads of things I want to tell people, but I'm scared of what people will think. I didn't get any traction with it, which is why I'm so passionate about the value of showing as yourself. And one thing I've really learned, have you heard about the Batman effect? I love this, where you kind of imagine there's like a better version of you, like that you put on a cloak, you put on a costume, and you step into that person, and that's the person you become online. And actually, all of me, you know, I'm a mum, I've got loads of other stuff going on in my life. Everybody doesn't need to know about every part of my life. It's just a version of me that's online. And when I sort of can compartmentalize the online version of me, it really helps. So it makes me feel that it's not all of me. And I think the other thing is really being strict with yourself about not being on your phone all the time, having the offline times. You know, I try and not spend hours doom scrolling, and I think compartmentalizing your time and knowing that you're doing it because I always say to my team when I'm doing it for business, I'm taking one for the team. You know, you're doing it for an objective, which is a really good objective because you've got something brilliant you want to reach out to the world. And when you think about it like that, it really, really helps. And this lady's here, she had her hand up a few times.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm trying to start up a cultural toy company. I haven't even got the product made. I haven't even got prototypes. So in the beginning, you were saying you need to start from now. So how do I build up my community when I haven't even got the product? I'm trying to protect my IP and, build up that community.
So, do you remember I said about starting with your audience first? So, I guess your audience would be parents. Yeah. Any particular type of parents, or
Parents of children 2 to 6 years old.
Perfect. So already it's probably going to be the mums buying the products, right? So what you could do is you could start to share play advice for mums of 2 to 6. You could start to share toys that you already use that people would find interesting. You could start, if you are already a parent, you don't need to show your children's faces, but you could talk about some of the stuff, your journey being a parent. You could talk about things that you already find useful, creative play ideas that are kind of ways of getting them off the screen. So people kind of follow along, oh, this is a great place I could go for advice and interesting ideas for creative play. And then you can say, actually, I'm trying to develop something of my own. What do you think about this idea? Don't need to tell us to give away the IP. And then by the time you're ready to launch it, people will kind of know you as the person that is interested in that area, and so you've got an audience there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, of course, you don't have to do that. It's one way of doing it, but I think there's something very powerful now: community first, product second. Whereas kind of the old way of marketing was do your product first and then launch it perfectly to the world. And I'm just saying that you don't have to do that. There is another way, which makes people feel more invested, and also gives you a group of customers there to buy when you're ready to launch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, lots of hands. Yes, gentlemen, yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you very much. My name's Dylan Abea. It's great to hear you talk. I loved all of your tips. You said you hated AI.
Yes.
I love AI.
Yes. It's very controversial.
I have an AI company.
Okay.
So my question to you would be... No, your tips are phenomenal. And by the way, all her tips are great, short form.
I'm going to qualify that question, that comment system a second. Go on, you
can't take it back now. If AI could remove tasks you don't like doing, editing, repetitive tasks, I'm on socials too, and I know that takes a lot of time, drains a lot of time, and give you back more time to go and be more human and connect with more humans. Would you still hate it?
No. So I think as a creative business owner, so obviously one of my businesses is a stationery brand. I really don't like it when people use AI to replace creative tasks where I think that it is damaging. Like, for example, AI created videos. I really dislike. But having said that, I'm not saying there isn't a place for AI at all. I think as a marketer, I think getting it to do, as you say, tasks which can be repetitive, getting to help you optimize your time, absolutely. Do I use AI tools? Absolutely, I do. I just think we have to be wary with using it to replace people. And I think that because people are getting, because of AI, for me, if you present yourself as a person and you are very authentic, and I think authenticity is the thing that we all want right now, you can stand out in a world where these things are ubiquitous. And I think there absolutely is a place for AI doing certain things to make the creative process and the stuff that we all care about blossom. So. Absolutely not replace people.
It can never replace.
No.
But it can amplify.
I had someone the other day try and persuade me to make an AI version of myself to make videos, and I was like, really? No. And that's what I meant.
Hey, let's do a couple more from from the online. Then we'll get back to the audience.
You tell me when we need to stop. I'm conscious of time.
I think Suzanne has a question, but I think you may have kind of answered that from your presentation. She was just asking about if you were starting a brand new Instagram account today. I mean, you kind of did that last year, didn't you? 20 months ago, you mentioned 116,000. Like, wow, in 20 months. But you're saying, how would you start? What would you do? But you can summarize quickly.
Sort of answer again. Pick a really clear audience, pick a really clear niche, have a content bucket or a theme that you talk about a lot. Stick at it, be consistent, show up regularly. Don't be disheartened if it doesn't initially take off. Show yourself as a person. Really everything I've talked about. Yeah. But it's absolutely possible to start from scratch, and I think it's a great time to do so.
And you proved that. One more online. This is Chris from Glasgow Mitchell Library. So he's a consultant. He works with businesses around problem solving. And many of the clients are reluctant to discuss their work publicly. So can you give him any strategies for trying to be more public in his consultancy skills and his achievements, but without breaking trust? He wants to be able to use socials to do this without breaking confidentiality agreements.
Does he say what his niche is?
outright crisis management.
So I think, again, it's about talking about whatever his niche is, whatever is his audience, giving stuff that they would find valuable. And then he can anonymize. He doesn't need to say Jane in Wimbledon. He can anonymize his clients, and he can talk about he can still create client examples or client avatars that he could use as examples without giving away client confidentiality. There's lots he could do with that. It's hard to know without being able to chat to Chris.
Yeah.
Hopefully that gives an idea.
Maybe Chris can get in touch with you
Chris,
on social.
Chris is very
on
welcome to get in
social.
touch with me. DM me anytime or pop me an email. I'm really happy to chat to him. One more in the room. Who's got... Oh, this lady's really desperate. Oh, damn it.
Just sorry, very quick one here.
Yes.
You said when you do a post and you engage, always make sure there's a sort of, you can get, they can see where to sell or to buy.
Yes.
So is that like a sort of link tree you're talking about that needs to be visible on?
So Linktree, if people aren't familiar with it, is a tool you put in your bio of your social accounts where you have like a list of links. So for any business, what you should do is have a very clear customer journey. So with the link that goes from your social pages, make it very clear what the customer's next step is. So it could be Linktree, where you've got a list of options for them, or you just make it very clear what your product or service is. So it could be in your highlights on Instagram, you say, here's how you work with me. In your pinned post, here's the service I offer if you're interested and you want to know more. In your bio, if this is the thing I'm working on at the moment, to come and sign up. Here's how you can get on my newsletter. Work out what your customer journey is and just make it super obvious at every step. There's loads of places you can do it on a social account when you instantly look at it, not just your bio, but just make it really, really obvious. So what you'll often find with any account that gets traction is that you use that sort of brand growing content for people to find and discover you and come to your profile. Then they look at your profile and think, I really like that. How can I find out more? So you just need to make it very, very obvious for people. And that's how often a service business works. With a product business, you're probably going to be showing your product more because you need to show off what you do. So you need to constantly be bringing that sort of content in, as well as the sort of content that's going to get people to come.
So you don't refer to it in a post, you actually have it visible.
You have it very visible on your profile. But yes, what I would do with a service business, I would probably at the bottom of most of my posts say, I'd have a CTA, a call to action, as a next step at the bottom of all of my posts. I always get the customer, and every post, whatever I do with either of my businesses, there's always an action for people to take. If you enjoyed this, sign up to my newsletter. If you enjoyed this, head to my bio. If you enjoyed that, you always have an action for people to take.
That's great.
It's not just posting at people, it's how can we do more together?
Thank you.
Last one. This lady here, she's desperate to ask a question.
Yeah, very quick question.
Yes.
I want to know your followers. Was it all organic, or did you actually do paid advertising?
I've never done a single paid ad for my second business.
Okay,
for my first business, I have. Okay. I was going to say I'm going to be here all day. I'll be here as well this evening. Just come grab me if you've got any questions. And thank you so much for having me.